Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this ECOSYSTEX Insights Series number 13 on a beautiful 21st of March 2025. While people are arriving, let me just briefly introduce myself. So I'm Tilda Cross, working at Textile ETP as a Sustainability Programs Officer. And at Textile ETP, in case you don't know who we are, because you're joining us for the first time, we're a network organization based in Brussels. And our aim is essentially to match the European research and innovation with the industry needs and priorities. And one of our activities is organizing this ECOSYSTEX cluster that brings together different European research and innovation projects. And you'll learn more about that in a few minutes. Now, I wanted to share some good news that are finally official. Maybe if you're in the research and innovation world, you have heard about the Textiles of the Future partnership that is now finally being signed. So we can expect basically this partnership ensures that there will be textile-related calls under Horizon Europe in the next 3 years to come, and hopefully also in the future. And if you want to be up to date on what's happening exactly related to the Textile of the Future partnership, you can become a Textile ETP member and also participate in our brokerage activities and our related webinar series that is exclusive to Textile ETP members. So yeah, I invite you to check it out, and my colleague posted links in the chat where you can find more information. So that's really good news. But now I would like to just briefly start presenting the agenda to you and also say a few words about what ECOSYSTEX is in case you're joining us for the first time. So we have prepared a very interesting agenda for you today. After a brief introduction, we have 4 ECOSYSTEX member projects presenting, starting with DigInTraCE on advancing polyester recycling, integrating digital technologies for sustainable textile production, followed by the BioSusTex project on their approach towards safe and sustainable bio-based textiles. Then we have time to address the questions to the first 2 speakers in a Q&A, and then continue with the r-LightBioCom project on new bio-based and sustainable raw materials, enabling circular value chains of high-performance, lightweight biocomposites, and the Craft IT4SD project on bridging heritage techniques and digital technologies to design for fashion and textile under consumption. And then there's again time for a Q&A, and in the event I'll wrap up and share some future events with you that you can check out. So now briefly explaining what is ECOSYSTEX. ECOSYSTEX is our European community of practice for sustainable textile ecosystem. It was launched in January 2023 and grew significantly over time. Now we bring together 55 EU-funded research and innovation projects. And the reason why we're doing this is really because we want to create a permanent expert community and a central knowledge hub for practical application of EU-funded science and technology for textile sustainability. And how we do this is basically from the member projects, bringing together the experts that work in these projects in 6 different working groups to foster inter-project collaboration and giving them a space where they can exchange best practices, share their knowledge. We also occasionally engage with policymakers by consulting our experts in the ECOSYSTEX community for their scientific input to then provide it to policymakers on EU level to inform their decision and policy making. And the third pillar in which we are really active are dissemination activities like this webinar, where we want to ensure that an interested outside public can also stay up to date on what is happening inside these EU research projects So yeah, we have this webinar series, but also an annual conference that we organize, and lots of different social media channels where we share more about the project as well. So that's just for you as some background, what ECOSYSTEX is. Here you can see all our member projects on one slide, and these are the 4 projects that we'll present today. Yes, and without much further ado, I'll bring back the agenda and would like to invite the first speaker of today, Alexandros, to please take the floor and share more about what they're doing in the DigInTraCE project.
Thank you very much, Stila. And just share my screen. Just a minute, sorry. So, can you see my screen, the presentation?
Yes, it's not in full screen mode yet.
Yes, I will. So I will minimize my window. So in case we want to interrupt or if you have any questions, just let me know. I mean, we can just stop me. Thank you. So is it in full screen now?
Not yet.
Yeah, wait. So whenever it's in full screen, just let me know and I will start.
It's not in full screen mode yet, but maybe it's easier if you share the. I think you're sharing the normal PowerPoint and maybe not the right file.
No, this is a PDF. Okay, I will try the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is the PowerPoint and is it in full screen now?
Yes, now it's perfect.
Okay,
We're good to go.
Great. So thank you and sorry for this short delay. The presentation today is to discuss a bit and to provide you some insights about the Horizon Europe DigInTraCE project. The title of this presentation and the context of this deals with the advancements on polyester recycling and the integration that we try to achieve of several digital technologies for sustainable textile production. Some information about the general context of this. So apparently you are all aware of the EU Green Deal, and in my presentation and in general in this project, we try to link this with the textile value chain, and there is this intercorrelation between this EU regulation and guideline and the research that is taking place, that is being conducted in this project. In brief, an overview of this deal. I mean, it's the strategic plan for the transition of Europe towards a sustainable and circular economy. The main targets, as you all are aware of, are the 2050 for the climate neutrality, and in between we have the Fit for 55 by 2030 in order to reach a certain amount of this climate neutrality. The deal emphasizes on the need for the innovative solutions to manage resources sustainably, and how exactly this is linked with the textiles value chain. So the EU Green Deal has significant implications for this value chain, the textile, and you are all aware of that the European Union aims to make this industry by providing guidelines and directives, so more sustainable, circular, and less polluting. It's a sector that is resource intensive. There are high levels of water usage and carbon emissions and waste. So this Green Deal aims to address these challenges by providing regulatory measures, incentives, and sustainability requirements. Just the key impact of this deal on the textile value chain of the EU Green Deal. You're all aware of the main, let's say, the major guidelines provided by EU. This can be summarized in a few major points, but apparently there's a really long list of measures and guidelines provided by EU, and a lot of work is in progress towards this direction. So I would just mention in brief the EU strategy for sustainable and circular textiles that encourages the eco-design principles and targets faster fashion reduction. There is also, of course, the ESPR, the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products regulations that establishes the sustainability requirements for textiles, and also introduces and provides a general description of the digital product passports for better transparency and traceability as a method for this, to achieve this. There is also the waste and circular economy regulations that focus on recycling and reuse, and aim to develop the separate textile waste collection system. This is mandatory by 2025, and apparently you are all aware, you might have noticed that a lot of people in this started working towards this direction. And also we have the promotion of fiber-to-fiber recycling technologies in order to ban the destruction of unsold textiles. Regarding due diligence and supply chain transparency, you are aware of the directives that aim to establish the corporate sustainability due diligence. And this means that this will require companies to ensure environmental and social responsibility across their supply chains. And we also have the carbon border adjustment mechanisms that aims to impact the imported textiles with high carbon footprints, monitoring and control. And overall, we have the ECA derived regulations, namely REACH. So there is a list, there are certain regulations that impose controls and on harmful substances in textiles. And there is a focus on non-toxic and biodegradable materials. DigInTraCE stands as an initiative. It's a Horizon Europe project that aims to focus on developing several certain technologies dealing with a transparent and interoperable decentralized traceability platform as a whole that aims to achieve and to support the EU goals. So the key goals of the project specifically are the development of a dynamic updated digital product passport, several AI-driven decision-making procedures for life cycle and process optimization, the upcycling and reuse of technology, reuse technologies in order to boost secondary raw materials reuse, and standardization and open data access, and apparently some new business models that will foster the economic opportunities and others. In this project, we work on 4 different value chains, one of which is focused on textiles. This is a brief schematic description of this pilot. This is a, let's say, the case study that of this project that deals with textiles. It's a demonstrator that is being conducted in Belgium, and the partners involved include the SENDEX, Bell, and CON, and there is also IRIS, FIRTHE, and VTT. In brief, we have the supplier of secondary raw materials that provides SENDEX Bell with PET, recycled one, and the production. Then we have the production production of recycled polyester that is later on, this yarn is being used in order to produce several types of PET-based textiles by CON, and there is also the process of upcycling the waste. This value chain mapping process is being conducted by FIRTHE, and ICCS specifically is aiming at, due to the capacity that we have in advanced waste sorting systems, we try to combine the digital solutions already being developed in the context of this project with the advanced waste sorting systems in order to facilitate informed decision-making processes, to maximize the value extraction from secondary raw materials, and in general to reach several other goals that are very relevant to the project objectives. Overall, the idea is to build a digital infrastructure that will serve as the backbone for integrating the stakeholders across the value chain and will provide a secure role-based access to shared data. So by introducing this dynamically updated DPP, the stakeholders, the participants of this pilot will have the opportunity to exchange critical information and maintain data privacy and integrity. These are some main features, let's say, of this technological solution that we've been working on. We use several advanced encryption protocols and secure data transfer mechanisms, and overall the interconnected system will promote the transparency and will facilitate real-time decision-making and will enhance collaboration between partners. The idea is to optimize the material flows, to reduce inefficiencies, and to foster the circular economy within this case study and if possible, in the textile industry. And how exactly this is being performed, some insights about the methodological approach we followed. So this diagram, as you can see, or most probably you cannot see because the fonts are a bit small. So the diagram is, let's say, the basis of this discussion. So by trying to map the flow of materials and data within the value chain, we try to emphasize the role of each stakeholder and how exactly the digital product passport will be used and implemented in order to optimize the upcycling and valorization processes. So overall, this is the basis that highlights how exactly the stakeholders involved in this value chain interact, how exactly the compliance is being achieved by complying to several EU regulations, the relevant ones, and the data integration, the collective support of the transformation of waste byproducts into valuable market-ready products. And as an overview of this and the DPP components, the ones that are composing, let's say, the data model that is being used in order to implement this technological solution for this textile value chain that we've been working on. This consists of the product development and testing data. Apparently, we have a lot of information dealing with regulatory compliance, the standards, and the certification. There is also, since the overall idea of this is to achieve several circularity and sustainability goals, there is also a lot of information dealing with the environmental impact and safety analysis of the materials produced or the intermediate products. And a lot of information dealing with the production planning, the optimization, and supply chain integration that is strongly correlated with the decision-making and other outcomes of the digital services that are being produced throughout the project. The function of the DPP, if we'd like to summarize the 2 bullet points, will be to capture the comprehensive data across these components in order to support our upcycling and valorization. And the DPP also, as it is designed, will facilitate the traceability and transparency of upcycled materials within the value chain. As a conclusion, and what we have been working so far, some major insights are that the next generation of the DBPs will have the potential to evolve into dynamic systems, will allow real-time material tracing and enhancing circularity assessment. The DBPs will be integrated with textile production and supply chain management in order to improve transparency, and will aim to ensure better traceability and sustainability verification. And there is also the enhanced digital platforms capacity, and that can facilitate optimized textile recycling and material recovery, paving the way for a more efficient and sustainable circular economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexandros, for sharing more about the DigInTraCE project. And yes, well, you have now the opportunity to type your questions to him in the chat if you, whatever you want to know more about. I invite you to do so. And in the meantime, I would like to invite Ann-Charlotte Hanning from the Research Institutes of Sweden to take the floor and present their BioSusTex project.
Yes, thank you, Tilla. I'll try to share. Can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe I'll try to share again. Share. No.
Yes.
Ah,
now.
Yes. Now it works.
Yeah. Yes. Just not in full screen yet.
Yeah. Now.
Perfect.
Better? Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my name is Ann-Charlotte Hanning, working at RISE, as Tilla said, and I'm stepping in for my colleague Anna-Karin Hellström, who was the person originally to have this presentation, but she has some troubles with her voice, and sometimes that happens. So I will talk you through what BioSusTex is. It's towards absolute safe and sustainable bio-based textile. And this is a EU Horizon project with two overall objectives: to strengthen the circular bio-based textile solutions, and also to substitute harmful chemicals, and at the same time boosting innovation, biotechnology and other sustainable technologies for zero pollution. And hovering over all this is the framework Safe and Sustainable by Design, which I will come back to. Short facts about the BioSusTex project. We started in June last year, but I would say the real start was in the autumn when everybody was back from vacations. The duration is 4 years. We have 12 partners from 7 countries. You can see them on the chart here. We have from Norway down to Turkey, really. The total budget is about 4 million euros. So going into the project objectives, we have 4 cases, and the first one is regarding removing, or it's like a pre-processing development case, and we have 2 things: looking into removing elastane and also looking into removing dyes and impurities. Then we have fiber to fiber recycling of doped up cellulosic waste, and the third one is water repellent, concerning water repellents, and of course we want PFAS-free water repellent coatings for the cellulosic materials. And the fourth one is a print formulation, where we are looking into a PVC equivalent performance, but with a bio-based ink that can be removed, which is very interesting. So we have 4 objectives concerning materials and processes, but we also have some for assessments and tools. So as I said before, this is looking into the framework, safe but sustainable design, and that will be the approach for all these 4 cases. We also will develop a decision support tool, create a database, and of course develop scale-up plans for these cases later on. So the first case is the removal of dyes and also removal of elastane. And these concerns the pre-processing of post-consumer cellulosic blends and address to chemical recycling. And the challenge is, I think that most of you can say that if you have elastane present in feedstock, that will probably be some kind of trouble for the recycler. And also, if we don't only recycle white feedstock, they have all sorts of colors. So if you blend all these colors, they would produce unpredictable melange color. You don't know what color you will end up with. So far, as I said, we started this autumn, so we've been running for 6 months. We are looking at different oxidizing agents for color stripping, and one of those are hydrogen peroxide. And we're also looking at separating elastane by dissolving, but we don't want to go so far so we break down it to toxic monomers, because toxic means that it's not so environmentally benign. So that is what we are doing right now, looking into different agents and trying to work out how to dissolve the elastane with not breaking it down too much. And the goal is, of course, then to offer these treatments to remove dyes and also elastane from this cellulosic textile waste, and of course to increase the feedstock for recycling. Going further on to case 2. So the first case, we are looking into color stripping, but what if we could avoid that? And this is what the case 2 is about. Recycling doped dye fibers, but avoiding this color stripping. So this is Aalto's baby, I would say. So they have tried to recycle commercial doped dye viscose fibers, and that was successfully done in lab environment. And the first test that they've done now is on black dope fibers. So we're really looking forward to sort of the more developments from this. And the goal is to recycle doped dye fibers with the safe and sustainable by design approach, with bio-based dyes, and a closed loop also with the wet spinning process. And of course, we want to include the recycling of the solvent as well, to be as closed loop as possible. The third case is about durable water repellents. And I mean, we know that there are different commercial alternatives today. We have siloxanes, we have C6 chemistry, but the challenge is still to get high enough performance. And that is what we are looking into here. And also, this is an interesting challenge with the bio-based part, because when you're looking into all these data you want to be able to assess it, the bio-based is a little bit challenging because it doesn't consist of the same formulation from batch to batch. It's easier with the fossil-based. It's more stable. So we have a variety of lab tests going on. And one example you can see here on the right, it happens to be a knitted cotton fabric with some little part of elastane with it. But the score is quite good. The scores goes from 1 to 5, where 5 is best. And this is not an exquisite 5, but it's a 5. But that's not all it has to endure. You have to have a lot of different durability tests for washing and abrasion and things like that. So the goal here is a safe and sustainable bio-based DVR formulation at TRL 5. That is technology validated in a relevant environment, but not exactly ready for commercial yet. But hopefully we're going there. The fourth case is PVC-free bio-based printing formulation with built-in recyclability. And here we just said that the manufacturing of PVC is problematic. It's not the manufacturing per se, but it entails a lot of chemicals that you don't want. And also you often use phthalates for softening the PVC. So we can just conclude that it is problematic. And this is something that is explored with our partner Chalmers and also Vividai, which is one of the SME partners. So they are looking into new binders based on polylactic acid. And they are also looking into nanostructured fluids to enable this removal of inks on a more bio-based binder, which means that if you can remove the ink, that would increase the feedstock and not being so problematic with this print screens. In addition, they're also looking into ethyl cellulose as a binder. And the goal here is to reach TRL5 on a safe and sustainable PVC-free formulation, accept the performance, and this really interesting, including this removal function of the print. Yes, all over this project, you have this safe and sustainability framework looking into it. So all the cases will go through the SSB, the evaluation. And this also means that we need to have an interdisciplinary approach with workshops to align and push forward. And that's where my dear colleague Anna-Karin comes in. She's really good at trying to get all these parts to communicate in a good way so we can get forward. Because even though if you look at the framework, you have these different steps. You have the hazard assessments, you have the risk of the people who use in the user phase, you have the LCA, you have the socioeconomic sustainability, but they're not really used to work together. So that is challenging, and that is something that we handle by this interdisciplinary approach, led by Anna-Karin. And you can see here that the aim is to have a, green light, yellow or red light. But we will see if we will get there with the SSBD framework. It's tricky, I would say. Open for discussion. In BioSusTex, as I said in the beginning, we will have a decision tool, support tool based on this multiple criteria decision analysis. And this will be one of our partners, which is called Green Decision. They will work a lot of on that. And we will also have a database for data compilation. But as I said, we've been working with this for the first 6 months in real time. So this is early days. We will come back with more information about that further on. And you are very welcome to visit us, LinkedIn, BioSusTex, or at the website. And here we have the very happy team visiting us in Mölndal for one of the consortium meetings. So that was all for me.
Thank you very much, Anne-Charlotte, for presenting us the BioSusTex project. And now it's time for the first Q&A. So you can stay with us. And I also invite Alexandros to come back on stage, on the digital stage. There are already quite a few questions to the DigInTraCE project, so I'll start with those and then...
Yes, and I try to respond on the chat field, but apparently we can discuss it now, whatever you prefer.
Yes, because also for people that watch the recording afterwards and don't follow the chat, it's always nice to just take the questions in person. So yes, the first question to you was if you are exchanging experiences with any other EU projects.
So as I mentioned, we are in collaboration with our sister projects, namely the projects that were funded by the same call. So it's Pluto and Sea-Rise Horizon Europe projects that we are in contact, and they are also participating in our advisory board. And overall, there is an initiative by ICCS and SIRPAS2 project. So in order to coordinate the DPP projects, and I have sent the link for the event that took place last November 2024, which is the beginning, let's say, the initiation of this initiative. A lot of people working towards these directions have participated and representing projects that deal with the implementation of DPP. And this is an ongoing process, so there are several meetings, and there is also a plan to have an event during 2025. I'm not sure about the date, but I can provide some extra information. But please be in contact with us if you want to be part of this initiative, the coordination, I mean, of the DPP-related projects.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll take two more questions for you. Pablo asked, is the system based in blockchain?
Yes, it's based on the Hyperledger Fabric blockchain framework. And
Okay.
as you can guess, it's based on this in order to achieve the transparency and the safe handling of data, meaning transferring data between partners and exchanging in a secure mode all this important information.
Okay, thank you. And Jade asked, in your communication model between all the stakeholders of the supply chain, do you face difficulties in establishing a common understandable language for everyone, especially between different countries with different standards?
Yes, we try to map all the available information, including the standardization and the certification processes that apply for each country that is involved in the project. Overall, the interoperability, generally speaking, in terms of data or in terms of input like certifications and standards, is a goal. We aim to achieve this, and there are several methods and approaches that we follow in order to reach this point where everyone will be able to register information, data, input, dealing with standards or etc., in a straightforward and interoperable way. Yes, we are working on it. I mean, this is the...
Okay, thank you, Alexandros.
Thank you very much.
Wait, there's one more question to you that I'd like to ask you. So, does the DPP for textiles need to be unique for each individual product, or can it be issued for a group of similar products?
So, yeah, this is a discussion which is not so technical one that we already have in the relevant work packages of this project. This is basically will be resolved and answered apparently by the granularity that we will try to reach and achieve via this project. So if we see that there is enough information to cover per batch or per item a traceability module that will be in correlation with this DPP, it's an outcome of the project. I mean, it's still ongoing, an ongoing process. So we still need to decide on how much information will be included and if it's going to DPP per batch or per product.
Okay, thank you for clarifying this and explaining how it works for you at this stage. And there are also a few questions to Anne-Charlotte in the chat that I'd like to ask you now. I think you also already like don't answer them now. We take them in person.
Yes.
So I'll ask you the same question just for the sake of it. What kind of bio-based inks are you testing in your project?
Well, what I can say is that they are cellulose-based and PLA-based. This is early in the project, and I need to check what I can say about this. A lot of NDA things here. So, Ian, you can contact me afterwards. We've been together in another work project. Then we have another question.
Yes, we have another question to you. So that is the elastane or dye removal process affecting the quality of the recovered cotton? And what is the, maybe this one first.
Yeah, I think it will. We have to examine how much and how we can mitigate the effect, the sort of detrimental effect. But again, we have worked with this for 6 months, so we are just going forward. I would say it would affect something, of course, but we try to minimize it.
Yeah, we'll make sure to invite you back to another webinar when you have more research results.
It's tricky when it's so early. You just started with all your tests and exploration of different things, but you don't have all the answers. Maybe we will never have. Yes. So
and
the next question.
Second question is, what is the destiny of the recovered cotton, mechanical or chemical recycling?
Yeah, for this, the removal of the first work package or the first case is mechanical. No, sorry, is chemical. Sorry, chemical recycling, because we do a lot of things with these pre-treatments. So primarily it's chemical recycling for now.
Okay. Well, thank you to both of you. I think in the interest of time, we'll move to the next presentation. And if we have some time in the end, I know there's one longer question I didn't ask yet. Maybe we have time to address it at the end. Yeah,
and also I can say if someone is particularly interested in some of these cases, contact me, mail me, and I can get you in touch with the sort of expert on that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And yes, then now it's my pleasure to invite Pau Pascual from ICCS in Spain to take the stage and share what they've been working on in the r-LightBioCom project.
Good morning, everyone. One moment, I'm gonna share the screen. Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So my name is Pau Pascual and I work at AITEX. It is a research center specializing in textiles and cosmetics, based in Alicante, southeast of Spain. And I'm here to present the r-LightBioCom project. It is a European project focused on new manufacture of new bio-based and sustainable raw materials, enabling circular value chains for high-performance composites in 3 different use cases. The main objective of this European project is a paradigm shift in the way of high-performance composites, the way they are manufactured and recycled at the end of life, and unlocking sustainable by design production for these lightweight composites. In this project, the different partners will enable a new circular value chain towards r-LightBioCom results, contributing in environmental related European goals and reducing high-performance composite waste generation and the use of non-sustainable fossil resources. In this project, there are 15 partners involved in the execution of the project. They are all from the European community, except from the UK. The call for proposal of this project is this one. You can see in the screen, our horizon call. And the topic is advanced lightweight materials for energy efficient structures. The starting date of the project was January of 2023, and the finish date expected is June of 2026. So the duration of the project is 42 months. Here on this slide, you can see the main objectives of the project. The project is structured in 9 work packages. The first work package is focused on the synthesis and biobased resins. and bio-based additives for these resins that will be used in the different use cases of the project. The work package 2 is related to the development of intermediate textile products using sustainable natural or recycled fibers to produce textile intermediates for the high performance composites. Then the work package 3 works on advanced manufacturing processes and technologies for composite production. Work package 4 is related to recycling processes for composites. So at the end of life of the high performance composites that we are manufacturing in the project, we recycle them by different process technologies like chemical recycling and mechanical recycling that we will develop later on this presentation. Then in work package 5, partners from Coventry University are developing circular economy strategies, process modeling and optimization of the manufacturing technologies for high performance composites. Work package 6 focuses on life cycle assessment of composites, and then the work package 7 covers all the industrial applications of the composites that are being developed in the project, mainly in automotive sector, infrastructure sector, and then the higher performance one that it is aeronautic sector. And then work package 8 manages the impact maximization and dissemination of this project, and the work package 9 oversees all the technical coordination and management of the project. Here, I'm going to comment all the innovation strategies and outputs that we are expecting to achieve in the project. First of all, the innovation strategies to reduce the environmental impact of high performance composites. So we are following first the strategy of increasing the content of bio-based materials in resins and in textile products. In work package 1, partners from AAP polymers are synthesizing and formulating some thermostable resins that they are doing a screening process where they will identify 3 new types of advanced bio-based resins for the different use cases of this project, mainly with bio-epoxy-based systems with bio-based content up to 50 to 85%. Then in work package 2, we are developing new
Pau, for some reason, I cannot hear you anymore.
No me jodas, tío.
Okay, so you're still there. That's good.
Sorry, I have some internet problems. Can you see the screen?
Yes, the screen is perfect. And now I can hear you again.
Oh, sorry.
So I think it's good. We can move on.
Okay, so in work package 2, we are developing the production of sustainable textile reinforcements by using recycled fibers or natural mineral fibers to produce non-wovens, yarns, robbins, and fabrics for high-performance composite manufacturing. This is an example of one resin that are being it is being selected by AAP polymers. It is a bio-based epoxy vitreamer. This one is for the automotive use case, where we are applying this bio-based epoxy vitreamer to a unidirectional flax fabric to produce prepregs. So after, and because it is a vitreamer, after or at the end of the life of this composite, we can reuse the material and reshape to another application. In work package 3, they are developing low impact high-performance manufacturing technologies. Two of them are being developed that are fast curing techniques like RTM combined with frontal photopolymerization. So we are testing ultraviolet curable resins, bio-based resins for this process, and then the other technology that it is being investigated is vacuum infusion with the combination of microwave irradiation for the curing of high-performance composites. These low energy demanding curing techniques will achieve high-performance composites with reduced time of manufacturing, cost, consumptions, and emissions. Another strategy that it is being followed from FEIECON is the supercritical solvodiges and chemical recycling of composites. So they are using supercritical CO2 and co-solvent recycling processes to recycle aramid composites and carbon fiber composites, achieving a high performance rate. They are the recycled fibers with residual resin of content between 2.7 or to 4.3% can be reused in textile manufacturing. So after the chemical recycling of these composites, the fibers can be used for new textile manufacturing, and the liquid fraction they are using to produce new resins and polyurethane foam synthesis for composite core. Next, we have the textile processes, manufacturing processes that are being carried out in Work Package 2. In this slide, you can see the process where we recover aramid recycled fibers. They are cut, opened, and carded to produce nonwovens with a thermoplastic component in them because they are used in compression molding processes to produce composites. But we can recover aramid fibers and use them to produce rovings and yarns to manufacture fabrics with a content of up to 95% of recycled aramid fibers in the fabrics. For the recycled carbon fibers, which come from the chemical or thermal recovery processes, chemical solvolysis being followed up by FEIECON, and thermal recovery processes in Gen2 carbon facilities. They send to AITEX these recycled carbon fibers, and we use them in our processes to produce non-woven and yarns and rovings for fabrics. In thermoset applications, we can use up to 70% of recycled carbon fibers content to produce fabrics and yarns. And for thermoplastic applications, mainly for non-wovens, we blend the recycled carbon fibers with thermoplastic ones like polyamide to produce non-wovens and thermoplastic composites that are being used in molding processes, thermal molding compression processes to produce composites. We have one new process that it is the production of thermoplastic unidirectional recycled carbon fiber tapes. We have a patent pending of this process, but we can achieve unidirectional tapes with up to 70% of recycled carbon fiber or recycled glass fiber content. Here we can see the process of manufacturing honeycombs, that it is a lightweight core for high-performance composite production. For the honeycombs, we use a non-woven fabric a nonwoven made from natural fibers or recycled carbon fibers with a high content of thermoplastic fibers, because we need to melt these thermoplastic fibers to laminate the nonwoven and then corrugate it to produce this hexagon geometry typical of honeycombs. Here are some examples of recycled carbon fiber and natural fibers honeycombs made in this project. The black one in the center, it is a 50% recycled carbon fiber with 50% polyamide honeycomb. And the last one, it is 70% flax honeycomb with, no, sorry, 60% flax honeycomb with 40% PLA, polylactic acid. We are combining these honeycombs in a high-performance composite as a core with recycled prepregs from Gen2Carbon. They are using bioepoxy bitrimer resin and non-wovens made from 100% carbon fibers to produce high-performance composites. We cure them in an oven with vacuum pressure, and we get resistant materials with high performance for aeronautic use case as well. And the natural honeycomb made from flax, we are combining them with natural prepregs made from 100% flax to produce honeycomb high performance composites for the automotive sector. And this last presentation, we will analyze the future exploitation case and business case for the industrial application and commercial application of these solutions that we came up with in the project. So the first stage is being done right now, that is the evaluation of commercial opportunities of the results. The second stage is develop tailored exploitation strategies by matching current value chains, enhancing product robustness, securing industrial integrators, and then the user acceptance. We will be doing interviews and polls for the user acceptance of these new products that we are developing in the project. And the third stage of the business exploitation case is the development of concrete business plans considering market context and partner situation for the targeted sectors, required business agreements, funding and investment plans to scale up results, certification needs according to standards or regulation, and the definition of implementation framework beyond the project life. So that's all for the r-LightBioCom project. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any question, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Pau, for taking us into the world of the r-LightBioCom project. And yeah, as he said, feel free to drop any questions to him in the chat. Now it's time for our final presentation of this webinar. So I invite Marianne Huang and Adriënne Heijnen from the Aarhus University to take the floor and tell us more about their Craft IT4SD project. Looks good, but both of you are still muted.
Oh, thank you very much, Stella. Yes, I could see I was muted. Is this, can you see my full screen here?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's perfect. Yes, and I wanted to say now to something completely different because I think we bring with our project Crafted a rather different angle to this very rich field of projects. So we are coming from the Faculty of Art, Faculty of Humanities at Aarhus University, and we are coordinating the project Crafted for SD, which addresses the environmental impact in the fashion and textile industry from a very simple idea that the best way to reduce the impact is to reduce the consumption and the overproduction. And we do that by looking at the intersection between cultural living heritage and craft on the one side, and also the implementation of digital technologies, and of course in a societal embedded context. So we started last year in January. We are Horizon Europe project. We are 11 partners, 6 countries, and we work with 4 pilot projects. One in Catalonia, Spain, one in eastern Romania, one in northern Finland in Oulu, and one in central Jutland in Denmark. When we look at the pollution, we see that and the environmental impact, that the biggest problem is especially in the upstream. So when we address the production and design, we do that from a wider context where we look at the role of the culture and creative sector, not only in being part of the green transition, but very much as being able to drive the green transition and the social transition. So taking looking at artisans, at cultural heritage, at craft communities, to see how they have the resources and also can push for sustainability. Here again, we can see that the biggest challenge is in the upstream and not so much in the downstream activities. And one of the recent reports also showed that we need to strive for almost halving the consumption, and of course even more if possible. It's a huge ambition and a huge task. But when we look at the latest numbers, we can see that we have a challenge because the global fiber production has increased. So we see a clear increase here in the report from Textile Exchange from 2022 to 2023. So from the perspective of that we need to reduce the production and the consumption, there's quite a long road ahead. And then I think you can take over, Marianne, to dive into the details of our project here.
Yeah, so we are working across. We had this presentation actually of the project in a booklet, which is particular on these cluster 2 projects, where the cultural and creative sectors and industries are seen as drivers for a triple transition in Europe. That's the digital, the green, and the social. New slide. Adriënne, would you change?
Yes, yeah. Now it works.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So this is particularly sort of the trajectories we are looking at and working with in the project, as Adriënne mentioned, the revitalization of crafts and cultural heritage, and that is sort of the locally based artisans communities, but also micro companies with young designers that are kind of already working in a responsible way, and how these resources and the living heritage is also something that create a resilience locally in the ecosystems. And we'll get back to that because our ecosystem approach is based on this resilience, on creating new business models to sustain and further the way
micro and small and medium-sized companies can enter the green transition of the textile and garment industries in a resilient and sustainable way. For which we are looking obviously into new technologies. How can we work with micro and small and medium-sized companies towards the DPP? What are the data flows and what are the standards? Which then also kind of unfolds a project across crafts and design and textiles, materials, and then new technologies in various ways, but particularly also design software, things like that. And not least, we are looking into the broad horizon of legislation and regulations, and how can the small and medium-sized micro companies also in clustering, in approaching this on platforms, not just comply with legislation and regulations, but also maybe get a market advantage. New slide. And so we're working with these 4 ecosystems, all of them kind of based locally, and in at least in the majority of cases in old textile areas. So working with additive manufacturing based on old patterns and artisans' approaches for 3D printing in capsule collections in Romania, with guiding micro companies and small and medium-sized towards the new regulations, and how they can actually implement this and also work with it through new technologies towards, say, something like the DPP, which obviously will kick in for the big industry, but also have this very strong effect and impact on the small and medium-sized companies and the micro companies. And also working then in northern Finland with reaching customers through engaging gamified technologies, but also building on and experimenting with very locally sourced materials, and how we can also kind of channel that in something that is also a way of working with materials and design that can go to micro companies, but actually also to consumers that becomes users and producers themselves. And then last but not least, how we in our own region in Denmark, region Central Denmark, works with combining crafts, materials, with digital technologies in actually something that could be considered a micro factory in a lab environment with our partners in the old wool environment in Herning in Mid-Jutland. New slide, please. Yeah, so here you can see from our Moldovan pilot, which is with a technical university and a technical and arts university in Iași, and together with Reginova, the innovation cluster and organization in that region, where a lot of the textile and and fashion also goes in Romania. New slide. And our pilot in Catalonia, led by Modac, which is a fashion cluster in Catalonia, and where we have this focus on how legal frameworks, eco-design directives, circular economy, and the sustainability or the environmental measures can be via technology also, validated data flows brought to small and medium-sized companies, micro companies, as not just something to comply with, but something which can actually also give a market advantage. And then in northern Finland, where we have this, we have experiments in fish leather combined with a gamification app, so you can see actually this local fish and how you can work with fish leather, which in Iceland is actually an industry, but here is something in the making. And in Oulu, we also have a huge arts and technology lab to work with towards performances in virtual spaces, opening up to also co-design with consumers and users in virtual spaces, and not least to create our final exhibition with the Oulu European Capital for Culture in 26. New slide. And in Herning, in region central Denmark, we have an old industrial component, and this new very technology-based lab, which also then approaches really the traditional material, which is the wool, but also plant dyeing, but also like the bio-based fibers, the up and recycling of fibers in sustainable ways and from sustainable materials. So what we are also looking at is obviously coming from the numbers that Adriënne showed in the beginning, the urgency of creating new business models, not least for the small and medium-sized companies and the micro companies. How can we actually facilitate that companies are sustained and become resilient towards the much needed lower lower production and lower consumption. So the strategies that have a focus on kind of the lowering the consumer price cannot be met by the small and medium-sized companies, and definitely not by the micro companies, but they can stand out in other ways. And this is what we are looking at by combining crafts, living heritage, and sustainability measures. We're working also with life cycle assessment and bringing that to the small and medium-sized companies, as well as how to then use data from the life cycle assessment to go on platforms where you can have your data validated and channeled into a DPP. So what we are working with particularly is the sufficiency-based strategies that is sort of in the upper upper part of this triangle for working with a sustainable textile and garment sector. So these strategies would target overproduction and overconsumption, but also test, which we're doing also with life cycle assessment, new business models such as rentals, reuse, durability, and high quality in reuse, and also looking at like business ecosystems, how do they respond to something like professional repair, and also companies having take back processes and offering repair processes as well. So we are kind of crossing or bridging design techniques and emerging technologies. That's kind of the core in what we are doing. And for the emerging technologies or new technologies, it's obviously the use of software like design software like Clo3D, which can actually go through a larger part of a production infrastructure and reduce the use of textile, but also how we can work with NFTs for artisans' works, and with NFCs that can both carry stories of the products, the designs, the crafts products, but also connect the validated data into platforms where you can create your DPP. And one last example of that micro companies are really the foundation of the textile and fashion sector. 90% of all businesses in the industry. And how do we work with micro companies and connect them in ecosystems where they support each other in sustainable production, in meeting standardization, and also in leading production in new ways with a microfactory. The example here is the Danish hard tech startup, Rodinia Generation, which is a really small factory that runs a totally sustainable production of really small capsule collections. From they get kind of the designs through Clo3D until they have the cuts that goes then to a sewing environment to the seamstresses. And now to you, Adriënne.
Yes, and I can see the time is running for us, so I just want to quickly go through this. I mean, we are now at the moment working on policy recommendations, which we will publish in its initial version in the beginning of July. So this is, you will get the slides after the presentation, so you can take a look at our first recommendations. But please, we will be very glad for receiving also your key strategic documents. We did a mapping and analyzed the main strategic documents, but we would like to see and to identify also the initiatives where we can align our own policy recommendations with, and perhaps also to join events so we can have more project behind some of those recommendations. That would be wonderful. So please feel free to reach out to us. Our final slide is that we try to design for degrowth and underconsumption. And we think this is not only relevant for the fashion and textile sector, but we think this is really an important agenda also for other sectors. So we also welcome in that sense the cross-sectoral collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the two of you for taking us into the world of the crafted Forest D project. Very interesting as well, and also, as you mentioned, very different from the other presentations that we've seen. But for me, it just highlights also really the variety of projects we have in the ECOSYSTEX community, and having the different angles that you should approach textile sustainability and circularity from. So thank you for that. And now we have a few more minutes to take some questions. So if there are some amongst the people that are still in the webinar, please feel free to drop them in the chat for the r-LightBioCom project and also for the Crafted Forest D project. At the moment, there are none, but we also know that the presentations are still quite fresh, so people might need to process, and for sure can also send their questions to me, and then I forward them to the speakers, or you contact them directly. Maybe a question from my side I had to the two of you was, since we live in like this very growth-driven world, did you face any backlash when you were like working on your project? Linked to lowering production and lowering consumption?
I think this is, of course, a challenge working also with the bigger industry, which rely a lot on the classical business model. So that is why we work also a lot on the micro level. So to take it from the bottom up and to look into the business opportunities that are related to durability, high quality materials, and also the cultural living heritage aspect to that through the storytelling that can be implemented through NFC tags. Exactly. We can also see a group of consumers who are really aware and start to become aware of the origin of products. I mean, that is also with the recent geopolitical situation reinforced. So we think this is a difficult change of mindset, but we think it's necessary and it will come slowly. Yeah.
Your project for sure contributes to that. Great to see. I think, unfortunately, if there are, this is like the last moment for people to ask more questions in the chat, because otherwise I will bring back my screen and start wrapping up the project. But thank you to all our speakers, and the 4 projects that you presented today was certainly very interesting. I hope also for our audience. So thank you for that. Let me start wrapping up and share my screen with you. Right, should be there. So yes, when it comes to upcoming activities and events from the ECOSYSTEX network, that you're very welcome to join again. We have the next 2 Insights series already scheduled on the 9th of May and the 13th of June. The one on the 13th of June will focus on biobased textile activities, or all projects funded by Circular Biobased Europe joint undertaking. So if you have a special interest in everything biobased, that webinar will be definitely interesting for you. And I would also like to already share with you, you should have, if you're signed up to the ECOSYSTEX mailing list, also received the save the date for the ECOSYSTEX conference in your inbox. We confirmed the date, so it will take place on the 29th of September to the 1st of October in Gothenburg in Sweden. And the focus is really on circularity and recycling topics. So, well, our theme is new technologies and business models for textile circularity. So if that's interesting for you, I also invite you to save the dates, and we'll launch registrations probably in late May. Then when it comes to other ECOSYSTEX member activities, well, there are always plenty of webinars going on. So the next one on the 25th of March next week is from the Solstice project on Textile, on their Textile Revalorization Pathway Explorer. And they are looking for pilot users. So if that sounds interesting to you, you're also welcome to join that webinar. They will present their first steps towards a 5R business model simulation tool. And on the same day, but in the afternoon, you're welcome to join an Iris webinar, especially if you're interested in safe and sustainable by design. The project is ending in May this year, so they will present their final results in this webinar on accelerating the transition with SSBD materials, products and processes. And finally, we also have two ECOSYSTEX member projects, TREX and IREX, present at the Textile ETP annual conference, which takes place from the 12th to 14th of May in Alcoy in Spain. You're very welcome to register to our conference and join us there and meet in person. So that would certainly be nice. My colleague just dropped the link in the chat where you can have a look at our program. Yes, so that would be great, and also you can meet some other ECOSYSTEX members there. Finally, since you're here, you're probably interested in, well, sustainability and circularity, bio-based textiles. So something else that we at Textile ETP do is organizing activities in a circular and bio-based textiles innovation hub, where we bring together experts from all across Europe to learn in different online webinars, network also online and in-person events, and yeah, come together and collaborate on the hot topics of circular and bio-based textiles. So if you want to dive in even deeper into these topics, you're very welcome to check out the different webinar topics that we have there and activities we've planned for the year. And with that being said, I think, yeah, obviously there's the ECOSYSTEX website where you can learn more about the projects. If you don't follow us yet on LinkedIn, I invite you to do so as well. And should you be in a project, EU-funded project on textile sustainability and circularity, you're very welcome to obviously also become an ECOSYSTEX member yourself with your project and collaborate with all the amazing people we have in this community. So have a look at that as well. Maybe especially interesting is that we also have a members publications library on the website where we bring together all public deliverables from all the different ECOSYSTEX member projects. So if you want to dive in deeper into the results that are already out there, you're very welcome to do that as well. And yeah, with that being said, we just reached 11:30, so it's the end of the webinar. Thank you very much for joining us and staying with us and your questions, and of course also to all our speakers for taking the time and presenting their projects. I'm wishing you very lovely Friday afternoon and a good start into the weekend. So thank you very much for joining, and hope to see you again in the next webinar or in person.